Lethal Company is a co-op survival game where you spend most of your time running away or sneaking around, desperately trying to survive, while collecting items to meet a regular quota, or be ejected into space. It's also a game which lacks many of the basic features that AAA developers would consider standard. Players don't have maps or mini-maps. There's no on-screen indicators. Heck, you don't even start with a flashlight, let alone a weapon to defend yourself against some pretty horrific monsters. Yet it's recently become one of the top games on Steam. So why? Even with this lack of features, is it fun? Why is it so successful? Well, I'm Andrew Chambers, and let's get stuck in. Dieter Rams, a famous German designer, once said, "Good design is as little design as possible." He was talking to the idea of concentrating on the core aspects of the project rather than adding unnecessary elements, what he called burdened with non-essentials. I would argue that Lethal Company, a game which exhibits this philosophy in spades, leverages just this concept to deliver such a fun experience. It's not burdened with these non-essentials, even if we may consider them typically essential. Let's look at a couple of ways in how this reduction of features turns into fun. In the game, players aren't given a map. There's no minimap, no on-screen indicators, no compass. The levels themselves, procedurally generated, are extremely complicated and easy to get lost in. They have a ton of repeated assets that make it hard to find landmarks. There are areas so dark that without a flashlight you're literally blind. Around any corner could be a monster that you're defenseless against and force you to run manically and likely get even further disoriented. On top of this, your life and ability to continue playing is reliant upon you scavenging items inside of these areas. Most developers would have looked at this as a problem. They would have seen players having a really hard time exploring and given the players tools like a map or a minimap to help them find items and survive. However, the developer of Lethal Company chose to hold that back, and that lack of tools makes it fun. Sure, there's something to be said for the rewarding feeling you get from actually exploring and finding stuff without these tools, and that's great, but they took it a step further. They did add the map functionality, but restricted it. They exclusively tied it to the ship. This creates an opportunity for one player to remain behind and act as a guide, or the person in the chair. This then unlocks a new layer of potentially fun moments.
Make a left?
Ready? Yeah, well, go right and then make your first left.
Go left?
Most players are just not good at giving or receiving directions verbally. We are really visual creatures. It's just not a common skill we encounter in games. Many games talk about how they are wonderful exploration games, about how rewarding their exploration is, but then they cover the map with hints telling you where to go to find things. This isn't exploration, this is a guided tour. The challenge imposed by this lack of common tools results in very rewarding moments when you do find a valuable item and manage to survive. The lack of features, or perhaps better described as only the essential features, encourages and fosters social interaction like few games do. Without a tutorial or any real instruction beyond an in-game manual, players are encouraged to communicate from the start, helping each other out to understand the basics of the game. The in-game voice chat itself is a thing of beauty. It's crackly, static-filled, limited range functionality is deliberately designed to enable just the right amount of communication over a short distance. This encourages players to stick together, further fostering a social experience. When a player dies, they are unable to chat with the rest of their friends. They just suddenly disappear. The lack of an on-screen squad user interface, as well as a lack of any notification, amplifies the moment. Players are asking, did they die? Who knows? Again, the player back in the ship is actually able to see this, and they're able to communicate that if they chose to, further enhancing their role as the person in the chair. Players can use walkie-talkies to communicate with each other over range, but they aren't easy to acquire. They have to purchase them using the money they need to survive, so often they only purchase one or two. Players also can't carry a large object and use the walkie-talkie at the same time, forcing them to drop the item on the ground while they talk. Of course, social gameplay can mean much more than just talking to each other. It can mean using skills and abilities to complement someone else's, thereby solving a common problem. MMOs used to be great representations of this. The tank was the only one who could take all the damage, while the healer kept them alive and the other classes dealt the damage. Though Lethal Company doesn't have classes per se, it does restrict access to tools, meaning players need to work together to complement each other's shortcomings. Limited access to tools, little to no weapons, restricted functionality, high pressure to succeed or lose everything, tension between purchasing items and meeting your quota, all create an environment where players are encouraged to be creative in how they solve problems. Can't afford walkie-talkies for everyone? Designate team leaders and split into squads. Have a volunteer shuttling items back from the entrance to the ship rather than exploring inside. There are a few other games which implement systems similar to this. Sea of Thieves does a really good job with the navigator who can't see past sails, so is reliant upon other players telling them how to do things. There's the map, which can only be found under decks, so this does have elements of this. Pulsar Lost Colony is a game which has stations which can be used by everyone, but then certain functionality can only be accessed by a specific class. For example, the captain is the only one who can order commands and move the ship around. However, neither of them truly capture the simplicity of the implementation as Lethal Company does. Honestly, it's a masterclass example of what good social systems design looks like. So why is it fun? It's fun because of what you can't do. Restricting access to functionality and tools forces communication and tension while promoting social problem solving. Limited information creates opportunities for players to solve problems socially, resulting in some hilarious outcome, whether successfully or unsuccessfully. And really, this is just the tip of the iceberg. With mods already exploding, who knows where this will go. A final thought. I don't think the AAA companies could ever actually make this game. AAA companies focus on live service, high quality, ease of interface, and hand-holding players with lots of focus group testing and reaction to that. I just don't think that it could be made by a company like Ubisoft or Blizzard. In a landscape where even the most social games inevitably feel solo due to you having every single tool available to you to solve every problem all on your own, something that is such a simple design like Lethal Company is a breath of fresh air. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you're enjoying Lethal Company. For now, hit like, subscribe. It does help more than you know. I'll see you next time.